I have a question for you.
All right.
Okay, so it was announced, I think today, was it? Today or yesterday, that the 3DS and Wii U shops are no longer going to accept cash as of the end of August, and by the end of March of next year, they're going to close down the shops entirely. So if you have games that you downloaded or you need to download, you might want to get them downloaded as soon as possible. So, with that being said, my question for you is, what are your favorite 3DS or Wii U games? So why don't we start with the 3DS? What is your favorite 3DS game?
Um, I'll probably start with the first game that I got on my 3DS, and that would be Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yes. Yes, boy.
Just one of my absolute favorites, mostly because just instead of being kind of stratospheric like a lot of the previous Fire Emblem games have been, this one was just a little bit more accessible, and it was great because I had bought the limited edition Fire Emblem 3DS, the one that was in blue and had the falchion emblem on it and everything. So that was literally my first game for the system. And the accessibility was great, mostly because of the fact that just when I bought it, I had just started my first IT job, and just with the ability of being able to sort of play casually during the slow periods of work, it was really nice to have. And just being able to suspend the system quickly to kind of work on a work ticket and then just go, okay, cool. Things are dead. Let me crunch out a map or two and just keep on going.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I was a big Fire Emblem fan before Awakening, and when I heard that they were making it easier or they were making it more accessible, I was one of those assholes who were like, oh, they're going to water down Fire Emblem. Oh, God. And I remember playing we were on the other podcast when this came out. And I remember when talking about the game, people were like saying, who would play this game classically? Like where if a unit died, you no longer have access to that unit. It's dead. And I was like, I play it that way. That's how Fire Emblem has always been. I loved playing Fire Emblem Awakening that way. I then played it again without it and had fun too, but I loved Awakening for its story, for its characters. Such a good game. And it was the game that instantly, when I bought the 3DS, I was like, $200 for an upgraded DS? I don't know. Then I played that game and I was like, all right, it was worth it right away. Like, I loved the game so much. Such a good game. Any other games that you wanted to talk about on the 3DS, or?
Oh, I'd have to think about it for a moment.
Fire Emblem Awakening would be my favorite too, so I'm gonna agree with you there. I also want to mention Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I think that, except for Pokemon Blue and Red, is the best Pokemon that's been made so far. Like, that game was so much fun. Had a lot of it had a lot of cool Pokemon characters. It had a great map. It was a decent story, I would say, for a Pokemon game. It was a lot of fun. I put a lot of hours into that game, so I had a blast playing that. And then Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. A Link to the Past is my favorite Legend of Zelda, and when it was announced they were doing a sequel to that game, I was stoked. I was so excited, and I was not disappointed. It is my second favorite Zelda, aside from A Link to the Past. So, man, that was a great game too. So, yeah, 3DS has a lot of interesting, really good games. So, I would look at Kirby Planet Robobot. Etrian Odyssey was perfect for the 3DS. I love Etrian Odyssey. So yeah, like the 3DS was a really good system. So
Yeah.
If you're collecting for it now, would it be a good time now? Are they still cheap, or are they starting to raise in price now?
Unfortunately, some of the games that got physical print copies are starting to climb up in price. I can only say I know this as of recently because just uh, I decided to purchase up some of the Pokemon games that I missed out on 3DS and everything, and yeah, prices are starting to go up. So
Oh, the Pokemon games always raise in price right away. I mean
yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, if there's any sort of rare games that you want on 3DS, for anyone listening, I would advise you to buy it as soon as you can. If you have to have a physical copy, but if you don't mind dealing with the eShop and everything, then just just go through the eShop and get a digital if possible.
Yeah.
Personally, one of the other games that I had a lot of fun in, and I would love, love, love to see this one being remade on Switch with a little bit more modern control sensibilities. Kid Icarus
Oh my
Uprising.
god. I had the hardest time playing that game. And it was mainly because I couldn't get the stand that came with it when it originally came out.
Yep.
Like they did a limited print copy of that and with the stand. So when I finally bought it, I guess I'll try it out. I had the hardest time playing that game.
Yeah, I have my stand somewhere buried in my box of stuff when I moved to my new house.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I can play the game for limited amounts of time without the stand, but my God, my hands will cramp the hell up.
It is such a weird control system. But yeah, it would probably be smart for them to probably re-release that on the Switch because I could see a lot of people being interested in that game.
Oh
Especially
yeah,
especially since people who actually played through the game actually really liked it. So
yeah,
yeah.
and just I think with just a modern day control scheme using two analog sticks and everything, I think it would just be an absolute treat to play. So yeah, that's one game that I'd love to spotlight on. And these next two that I'm about to mention, um, yeah, they're on other systems, but there's a really really special reason that I'm going to mention them, and that would be Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D.
Okay.
And the big reason I mention these being ones to get is that they have a massive, massive quality of life change by using the lower screen. So, in Ocarina of Time, the lower screen is used kind of like as the pause menu screen in the original N64 version. So you can do all of your like sub-weapon management and other management really quick with the touchscreen and everything. So a lot of fun there. But the idea was expanded upon even further by Grezzo, being the folks who worked on this. This and also Majora's Mask 3D is they expanded the functionality even more in Majora's Mask that they added a new item to Majora's Mask, which is called the Bomber's Notebook. And the Bomber's Notebook essentially takes notes of all the significant events that happen in the game, so you can basically sort of plan your way through the game instead of having to kind of memorize the cycles or keep a notepad handy and just kind of note a certain sequence of tasks that you have to do in order to get to the ending and everything. And just a super super cool feature. Just if anything, it was one of those things that I'm just surprised that no one had ever thought of it before as a feature to add to Majora's Mask. So yeah, just really really cool feature that I thought was just really unique to add. But yeah, the games play fine, and the 3D effect is kind of a cute little thing to play with. But yeah, just overall, I would give kind of a special mention to those two games, just mostly because of the additional functionality that the lower touchscreen provides.
Okay. Favorite Wii U game?
Favorite Wii U game? Ooh, that might be a little tough. Um,
Is it
I
tough
know.
because is it tough because there weren't that many good games, or because now most of them are on the Switch?
Um, it's tough because some of the games got ported to Switch, but then you've also got some games that were quite beloved, but unfortunately a bit orphaned on the Wii U.
Yeah,
One of the first ones that comes to mind is Xenoblade Chronicles X. Just really, really fun, really unique. Unfortunately, is trapped on the Wii U.
I've heard that it's an incredibly long game, but I've
Oh
heard it's actually
yes.
the best of these Xenoblade Chronicles games. Is that true?
It really kind of depends on who you ask.
Okay.
Just one I thought was really good. Two, Xenoblade Chronicles X was unique because it had sort of a city management element to it, where you're kind of mining for resources, collecting herbs, and trying to help some of the bigger cities with um, some of the issues that the towns and cities have. And then, of course, later on in the game, you get to fly your ship around as a giant mech and fight monsters in it and everything. So, really, really fun. And some people found it interesting because you also get to make your own character and everything. So there's that. But yeah, just and then of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Some people don't like it because it went kind of heavy into the anime aesthetic, but um, I think Chronicles 2 is plenty fun. But that's my personal take on it.
Okay. Um, I gotta be honest. My favorites are pretty much either have sequels already, or they're on Switch. So even if you're one of those people who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a Wii U and buy some games," you might as well just get a Switch at this point. Except for maybe Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I'm surprised that they haven't put that on Switch yet. But anyway, Pikmin 3, I think, would be one that I would say was really good on the Wii U, but that's on Switch. So, and I think the Switch version runs a little bit better. So there's that.
Also, there was one that was great on Switch, but it has since been ported to everything now. Fatal Frame: Maiden of Blackwater.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's a pretty good game. Um, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a really good game. That's on Switch. So if you want to play that, the Switch version's fine. I guess the favorite I have is Splatoon. And even though it is my favorite, I would also say just get Splatoon 2, or when Splatoon 3 comes out, get that, because it's better than Splatoon 1. So, yeah, that's awkward. It just seems like everything that was on Wii U, with the exception of your favorite game, they're on Switch or elsewhere now. So, like, even Bayonetta 2. Like, Bayonetta 2 was on Wii U, and that was really good. But it's on Switch now, so there's no point in playing that on the Wii U.
Yeah, and then you've also got Twilight Princess HD, which is one
Right.
of the few ways to play a version of the game that plays nicely with modern day TVs, and also Wind Waker HD as well too.
Yeah. No, yeah, those two. And there are apparently they are very good versions of that game. So if you want them, like if you really want to play them, you need a Wii U. So there's that. The NES remix games are fun. I wouldn't buy a whole system to get them, but they are fun. So if you can buy a physical copy of that, they're good. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, that's on on Switch. Captain Toad, that's on Switch. Like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get annoyed by it closing down when pretty much all of their games are on Switch now. Hyrule Warriors is another one. That's on Switch. My God, what was there was one that I saw. Oh, the SteamWorld games, SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist. They're on
Yeah,
Switch. Axiom Verge is on Switch. Yeah, like New Super Mario Brothers U, that's on Switch.
And Super Luigi U as well too.
That's on Switch. Yep. Yeah, with the wonderful Wonder 101's on Switch. Yeah, the Wii U had some good games, but the problem now is that you can get them elsewhere. So even if you are one of those who I'm going to collect Wii U games, there's good Wii U games. Sure.
I will mention one that deserves a special mention, but only because of how awful it is.
What's that?
Devil's Third.
Yep, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And they're never going to port that to the Switch. So if you must spend gobs of money to get a copy of that, yeah, knock yourself out. But Super Mario Maker is another one that, you know what? I will say this. Super Mario Maker worked really well, I think best on the Wii U, because you had the extra screen on the gamepad. So I will give that then. Because playing it on Switch is okay, but I'd prefer it to have two screens. But you can't. So anyway, that works, I guess.